North America, a vast land rich in untouched nature. An endless repetition of geological upheavals, along with constant erosion. Volcanic activity caused by the Earth's burning heartbeat. Verdant plains. Trees so tall they seem to reach the heavens. Huge underground caves existing in everlasting time. North America is a land of truly spectacular natural wonders. The emblematic bison of the Great Plains is one of the many protected species of wildlife that populate Yellowstone National Park. Covering an area as large as 9,000 square kilometers, the park is famous for its erupting geysers and bubbling hot springs. Yellowstone is the world's first established national park, most remarkable for the spectacular volcanic activity and unique flora and fauna fostered by the limitless energy of Mother Earth. The Rocky Mountains stretch across over 4,800 kilometers, north to south, down the entire length of the North American continent. Surrounded on all sides by the mountains of the Middle Rocky Mountain Range, the park spreads across the states of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. The river that flows in the northern part of the park has its source in the upper reaches of the Rocky Mountains. It was this river that cut out the Great Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, which has a depth of 460 meters. The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone got its name from the yellow rock found along the river. The park was then named after the canyon. The yellow rock is rhyolite, which is created when lava, spewed out of a volcano during an eruption, cools and solidifies. Yellowstone was formed from 3 large volcanic eruptions that occurred during the past 2 million years. This gigantic caldera, which was left after the last great eruption 630,000 years ago, is approximately 75 kilometers long from north to south and 45 kilometers wide from east to west. Volcanic activity continues in the area today. Yellowstone Lake was formed when snowmelt from the Rocky Mountains collected in one part of the caldera. At the bottom of the lake, which is approximately 120 meters deep, hot vents and fumaroles continue heating the lake even today. All over the park, white columns of erupting steam can be seen. Referred to as geothermal features, groundwater, which is heated up by the same magma that causes volcanic eruptions, erupts out of holes or vents in the ground. Geothermal features include such phenomena as geysers and hot springs. The temperature of magma can reach 1,000 degrees Celsius. In Yellowstone, there are approximately 10,000 different spots where we can see such geothermal features. The blue, very transparent water in this spring is so hot and acidic that only a few types of bacteria are able to survive in it. Yellowstone is said to be the location of the world's highest concentration of geysers. This geyser is known as Old Faithful. Since observation records first started being kept for the geysers 120 years ago, Old Faithful has continued to erupt a 60-meter tall column of steam once every hour without fail. Yellowstone National Park is located on a high plateau, which has an average altitude of 2,500 meters. Plant life grows very well here due to the moist climate and 4 distinct seasons. These conditions have resulted in almost 80% of the valley being covered with evergreen trees. The area's rich vegetation nurtures various types of bird and animal life. White pelicans migrate here in the summer, while Canadian geese visit in the winter. Since different types of migratory birds arrive during different seasons, the sound of singing birds can be heard all year long. These bird nests were formed on sheer rock. These are the nests of fishhawks that breed in the park in the summer. A male fishhawk is returning to the nest with a river fish. The birds finish raising their chicks before the start of the winter, when they return south. This creature, making its home in the rocks, is a member of the marmot family. This male elk has particularly fine antlers. In the summer, their antlers are referred to as velvet antlers because they are covered in soft velvet-like fur. By autumn, the velvety fur has been rubbed away to reveal the animal's hard antlers. The American black bear is said to be able to run 100 meters in 8 seconds. The bear breeds widely, from the Rocky Mountains to Canada and Alaska. This bear stands more than 1.5 meters tall. The bear, which is omnivorous, consumes everything from nuts and insects to small animals. An American bison leisurely crosses the road. Due to overhunting, their numbers had been reduced to less than 1,000 on the entire North American continent by the end of the 19th century, facing an imminent danger of extinction. This crisis, however, was avoided by a conservation movement that resulted in the creation of Yellowstone National Park. In 1872, the U.S. Congress, in order to preserve Yellowstone's natural wonders for future generations, set aside the land, designating the area a national park. Yellowstone thereby became the world's first national park. Thanks to these efforts, American bison presently number over 3,500. The park's founding mission to set aside an area of nature for preservation was a concept that soon spread throughout the world, and today more than 1,600 national parks have been recognized in more than 100 countries. The movement of magma under the surface of the earth beneath the park has as yet shown no signs of abating. The Mammoth Hot Springs are located in the northernmost part of the park. The lime-rich hot spring waters are what form the huge limestone mountains of the area. This richly flowing hot spring contains about 2 tons of lime a day. It is said that the shape of the limestone mountains here changes from week to week. The limitless energy of the Earth's magma, along with the mineral-rich and plentiful waters of the Rocky Mountains, have created this land of immense natural beauty, Yellowstone, attracting people both as a place of tranquil greenery and for its untamed land of exploding geysers and bubbling hot springs, has served as a trailblazer to the world for ecological conservation. This deep canyon was carved out by the flow of the Colorado River. Located in the southwestern part of the United States, in the state of Arizona, Grand Canyon National Park occupies over 4,900 square kilometers. The depth of the canyon is approximately 1,500 meters. With a tremendous gap in elevation between its rim and canyon floor, the canyon supports several of the major ecosystems of the North American continent, from Canadian plant and animal life to Mexican. The Colorado River, which has its source up in the Rocky Mountains, boasts a length of approximately 2,300 kilometers. The river flows down from the high Rocky Mountains from an altitude of more than 3,000 meters. The constant and powerful erosion from this surging river was what carved out the Grand Canyon from what was originally a flat plateau. The layers of the earth in this area, exposed by the erosion of the river, have etched within them the history of our planet. The top stratum of the plateau is now known to have been formed approximately 250 million years ago. In this layer, fossils of various shells, such as clams, have been uncovered, revealing to us that this entire area was once part of the sea. Beneath this layer, there are many more layers formed from coral reef and sand. Over a long stretch of time, the area has undergone many periods of geological upheaval, followed by periods of sinking. Approximately 65 million years ago, in what was the most recent major movement of the Earth's crust, the Colorado Plateau, as well as the Rocky Mountains, were created by upheaval. From that time onward, the valley has become steadily deeper due to the erosion caused by the strong current of the Colorado River. What started off as a deep valley widened, gradually becoming transformed into a great gorge. This is attributed in part to the climate of the Colorado Plateau. In the winter, rain freezes when it seeps into the ground of this high plateau, which has an altitude of more than 2,000 meters. As the frozen rain turned to ice and expanded, it would cause rocks to break away and fall into the river. Over time, this caused a great widening of the valley. On the canyon floor, the lowest stratum found near the river is extremely old, thought to be approximately 2 billion years old. It was from this stratum that traces of the oldest organism on Earth were discovered. There are only two ways down to the canyon floor, on foot or on the back of a mule. It takes almost the entire day to get to the bottom. As you travel down into the valley, the temperature gradually rises. With an altitude of 1,500 meters, the Grand Canyon has a temperature difference of some 20 degrees Celsius between the rim and canyon floor. Because of this variation, most of the major North American flora is represented within the park. More than 300 species of birds and 76 species of mammals can be found in the park as well. There is a location down the valley known as Plateau Point, where one can stop and enjoy a spectacular vista. With an altitude of 1,200 meters, it has a dry, desert-like climate. During daytime in the summer, temperatures can reach more than 40 degrees Celsius. In this heat, animals are scarce. The most fertile plant in this area is the cactus species Opuntia, also known as the prickly pear. The cactus originated on the American continent. Cacti bloom from spring to summer, brightening up the bare land with their colorful flowers. Approximately 300 meters above Plateau Point, we see a Colorado chipmunk scrambling up the Rocky Mountain side. As the altitude increases, the vegetation changes. Agave utensis, a member of the Agavaceae family, has a flower with a 5-meter-long stem. The plant has a lifespan of just a few decades, forming flowers on its enormously long stem only once in its life. The flowers bloom for about 1 month, and after producing plenty of fruit, die shortly thereafter. As the altitude increases, a herd of mule deer appear. These are bighorn sheep. Living among the rocky cliffs, the closer one gets to the rim, the more one encounters larger animals. These bighorn sheep make their way over these rocky slopes with ease, mainly surviving on a diet of shrub leaves. Evergreen trees, such as pines and firs, which can only survive in cool climates, grow along the rim of the canyon, which has an altitude of more than 2,000 meters. The blue nuts of the Utah juniper, a member of the cypress family, are added to gin for their fragrance. The Grand Canyon has a truly rich variety of vegetation due to the large difference in elevation from the rim to the canyon floor. In the park, the breeding of California condors, a bird facing extinction, is being consistently carried out. With a 3-meter-long wingspan, the California condor is the largest bird on the North American continent. The number of California condors, which originally inhabited the hills of California State east of the Grand Canyon, had been reduced to only 22 birds by 1944 due to hunting. The Grand Canyon turned out to be an ideal breeding ground for these birds. In 1997, 8 condors which had been bred and raised in captivity were released into the wild within the park. Since that time, their numbers have been steadily increasing. Even today, the Colorado River continues to erode the walls of the Grand Canyon. Some 2 billion years of the Earth's history are etched in these great canyon walls. The Grand Canyon is not only one of the great natural wonders of the world, it also helps preserve the ancient history of our planet. The mysterious sight of a soaring round rock awaits the visitor from the top of this 3,000-meter mountain. The Sierra Nevada mountains dominate the state of California. Approximately 1 million years ago, this entire area was covered in thick glaciers. The Great Round Rock is called Lost Arrow Spire. It was all that was left after its edges were eroded by a glacier. Yosemite, lying at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains, is a national park boasting a rich variety of nature, including forests, lakes, waterfalls, and spectacular mountains. Located on the border between California and Nevada, west of the Sierra Nevada mountains, the park is 5 hours away from San Francisco by car. There is an elevation difference of approximately 3,300 meters from the mountaintops down into the valley. Yosemite's size is estimated to be approximately 3,000 square kilometers. Warm winds blowing inland from the Pacific Ocean hit up against the Sierra Nevada mountains, producing plenty of rain. This abundance of water was what created the verdant High Plateau Valley. Unique in California, Yosemite has 4 distinct seasons. During the winter, the park turns into a snowy world, sealed off from the surrounding areas. When the snow recedes in the spring, the fields become adorned with the colors of wildflowers in bloom. In May, everything turns into a beautiful green when the Merced River, flowing through the center of the valley, rises from the snowmelt flowing down from the high mountains. This is perhaps the most beautiful time of the year in Yosemite. The great rocks in the valley are almost totally devoid of vegetation. Boulders are completely exposed to the air. This gray rock is pure granite, formed when burning hot magma under the ground cooled. The valley was formed 10 million years ago as part of the same geological process that created the Sierra Nevada mountains. Approximately 1 million years ago, the area entered an ice age. During that time, packed snow covered all these mountains, forming glaciers. Little by little, the weight of the ice eroded all the edges of these granite mountains, leaving sharp vertical peaks. The symbol of the park, Half Dome, is a granite peak that rises straight up 1,400 meters off the valley floor. El Capitan, meaning the captain in Spanish, is another vertical monolith. This peak is a single gigantic rock rising up some 914 meters and is thought to be the world's largest freestanding rock. To scale the face of the El Capitan is a must-do in the world of rock climbing. All the great climbers have set their sights on this rock at one time or another. Even for an experienced rock climber, it takes a full day to scale El Capitan. Here at the top, there is a lake, also a result of the glacier that once covered this area. Located at an elevation of 2,449 meters, Tenaya Lake is almost perfectly transparent. The lake, which was created after the granite rock that was once here had eroded away, is located near the edge of the forest. Because there is little soil in this rocky area, the lake has remained eternally transparent. Down in the valley, forests cover the land. These forests are home to all kinds of creatures. Emerging from hibernation, the black bear starts preparing for spring. This marmot is thinking of taking up residence here in the rocks. This chipmunk is munching on some berries. The forest is a great storehouse of food for the creatures who make it their home. With its temperate climate and abundance of water, the trees of Yosemite are so tall they seem to reach the heavens. Mariposa Grove is a forest of conifer trees located near the southern end of the valley. The eye is inevitably drawn to the giant sequoias, a species of cedar. At full maturity, these giants can grow to be 90 meters tall. The largest tree in Mariposa Grove is Grizzly Giant, which has a diameter of an amazing 29 meters and a height of 62 meters. The tree is thought to be 2,700 years old. Giant sequoia trees existed 200 million years ago, at the time when dinosaurs walked the earth. It is thought that they used to be present all over the world. Nowadays, though, they only exist within a small area of the Sierra Nevada mountains. These black burn marks on the tree trunk are scars from the ravages of past forest fires. Giant sequoias have barks that are 50 centimeters thick, thereby protecting the inner tree from fire. Also, because of their exceptionally thick bark, fire doesn't spread from tree to tree in a giant sequoia forest. Because they clear away the undergrowth, forest fires actually facilitate new tree growth and are therefore essential to the health of the forest. This squirrel is holding a giant sequoia cone, which is roughly the size of a chicken egg. Giant sequoia trees normally don't produce cones, but the heat from a forest fire is said to have induced the first fruiting of the tree. As wildfires burn away the undergrowth of the forest, the giant sequoia bursts into seed. These trees, which have managed to adapt to environments that are difficult for other species, have been able to continue their existence on Earth for 200 million years. The fifth tallest waterfall on Earth, Yosemite Falls, is 739 meters high. With water made up of rainfall and snowmelt from the Sierra Nevada mountains, Yosemite Falls is most spectacular during the season of melting snow. Yosemite is a landscape where great granite monoliths were born as part of the same geological process that created the Sierra Nevada mountains. It is a landscape characterized by rocks carved by large glaciers and by giant forests nurtured by an abundance of water, and is a landscape that is truly superb in each of the 4 seasons. Countless bats swarm in the air here every evening. This is Carlsbad Caverns National Park, located in the state of New Mexico. This area, which forms one of the world's largest cave systems, in addition to being a U.S. national park, was designated a World Natural Heritage Site in 1995. The creatures flying within the cave walls are Mexican free-tailed bats. The bats are small, averaging only about 5 centimeters in length. After spending the winter in central Mexico, the bats return here to breed in the summer. There are approximately 1 million bats that gather in these caves. Every evening, they emerge from the caverns looking for food, such as insects. Emerging from out of the cave, they appear like a dark rain cloud in the evening sky. When night comes, after all the bats have vacated the cave to hunt, the interior of the cave, which has a depth of some 300 meters, gradually grows quiet. Including this cave, the Carlsbad Caverns are a national park consisting of 81 caves, large and small. Carlsbad Caverns National Park, located in the desert near the Mexican border, has a land area of approximately 190 square kilometers. The annual precipitation barely reaches 300 millimeters. However, in the park, there are approximately 800 varieties of plants, including cacti, which are highly suited to this desert climate. In addition to cacti, 64 species of mammals, as well as a total of 28 species of reptiles and amphibians, live in this extremely dry environment. The surrounding land of rolling hills is made of limestone. Approximately 250 million years ago, this entire area was at the bottom of what was once an ocean with a coral reef. 65 million years ago, however, the area was heaved up from the bottom of the sea by the geological activity that formed the Rocky Mountains. On the surface, we can now find the fossils that tell the story. Natural entrance is the entrance to Carlsbad Cave. The first humans set foot within the cave about 100 years ago, when a local cowboy entered the cave with a lantern and first saw the huge stalactites. It is thought that this truly gigantic cave was formed about 20 million years ago. Its current form took shape through the slow effects of erosion, both due to rainwater and underground water seepage, which has continued eating away the raised stratum of limestone in the cave interior. Ordinarily, limestone caves are formed when groundwater that has absorbed carbon dioxide from the air turns acidic and gradually eats away the limestone, which is alkaline. However, in Carlsbad, in addition to groundwater, there were also underground sources of oil and gas. It is thought that hydrogen sulfide from this oil and gas reacted with the oxygen in the groundwater to form sulfuric acid, which then powerfully eroded the limestone, thereby creating the tremendous size of the caverns. The Big Room is the largest cavern inside of Carlsbad Cave. With a depth of 1,200 meters, a width of 200 meters, and a ceiling height of 80 meters, it is said to be the largest underground cavern in North America. Within the cavern, there are stalactites of fantastic shapes wherever the eye looks. Stalactites are formed when lime in the groundwater is slowly deposited downward from the cavern ceiling. It is an extremely slow process, taking about 100 years to grow 1 centimeter. The cavern stalactites have been given various names after their shapes. The ones hanging from the ceiling are called icicles. Soaring straight up from the cave floor, the stalagmites grow slowly towards the ceiling. These 3 towering stalagmites near the center of the Big Room are the largest in Carlsbad Cave. This stalagmite, named Giant Dome, is about 18 meters tall and almost reaches the cave ceiling. The 2 twin-like stalagmites standing next to Giant Dome are called twin domes. It is thought that stalagmites began forming inside the cave approximately 800,000 years ago. Scientists believe that a forest existed above ground at the time, producing an abundance of water, which provided the necessary groundwater for the long formation period of these stalagmites, over thousands of years. In more recent times, however, the climate changed as this area gradually turned into desert. With drastically reduced groundwater, only 5% of the stalagmites here are still growing today. There are various types of stalagmites that remind us that there was plenty of water here at one point. This formation, known as curtains, was formed by an abundant flow of limestone-laden water dripping along the walls. The long and thin stalagmites that seem to be almost completely covering the ceiling are called straws because of the fact that they are totally hollow on the inside. This formation, called popcorn, was formed as a result of water droplets building up on the surface of the cavern walls. The direction in which they form changes according to the flow of what little air is in the cave. Studying the direction of the formation also provides hints for discovering the location of new caves. In 1986, a new cave with a depth of 477 meters was discovered. This new cave is some 100 meters deeper than any others found thus far. Indeed, the full picture of these caverns is still not completely mapped out. In the evening, bats depart the cave in groups to go out and search for food. Moving in the opposite direction, another creature moves toward the caves at dusk. These are the cave swiftlets that return to the caves with their prey, such as insects. These birds make their nests in the caves or cracks of the rocks near the cave entrances. During summer, the birds breed here before traveling south for the winter. It is the milky white stalactites that have created the wondrous feeling of these caves. Truly unique geological factors have come together to create one of the most spectacular underground cavern systems on Earth. The Carlsbad Caves, which were created over a long stretch of time, dazzle the visitor with their awesome size and their otherworldly stalactite formations. This is the largest non-polar ice field in the world. Slowly moving down the 5,000-meter-high mountain slope, the glacier makes its way to the sea. Located on both sides of the border between Canada and the United States, the combined area of 4 bordering national parks forms what is the largest UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site on the planet. This unique world of ice and nature is centered in the area around the Wrangell and St. Elias mountain ranges, which spread across the border of the state of Alaska and Canada. Located in Alaska, Wrangell-St. Elias National Park is nestled within the Wrangell and St. Elias mountain ranges. Mount St. Elias, which has an altitude of 5,489 meters, is the second highest peak in North America. Across the border in Canada, Kluane National Park is home to that country's highest mountain, Mount Logan, which has an altitude of 5,959 meters. Also located in Canada, the Tatshenshini-Alsek Provincial Wilderness Park is named after 2 rivers originating in the St. Elias Mountains. Glacier Bay National Park is a national park formed around Alaska's 105-kilometer-long Glacier Bay. The total combined area of these 4 national parks is approximately 98,000 square kilometers. The climate of the area sees prevailing westerlies, blowing in from the Pacific Ocean, hit up against the mountains to create abundant rain clouds. Some areas around the mountains receive up to 3,000 millimeters of annual precipitation. With this much rain, the land is rich in nature, with vast tundra, great forests, and lakes. This area, which is closed off from the rest of the world by heavy snow in the winter, is transformed by the brilliant colors of wildflowers in spring. Spring is the season for rearing young. A mother grizzly bear and her cub awaken from their long winter hibernation and immediately start looking for food. Grizzly bears stand more than 2 meters tall and can weigh up to 300 kilograms. The animals, which still dwell in Yellowstone and Alaska, have become rare elsewhere in North America. The animal popping its head out of the river is an American beaver. It is about 1 meter long. The bald-headed eagle is the national bird of the United States. This vast, untouched wilderness is a paradise for many animals. Dotted with small islands, the placid waters of Glacier Bay stand at the heart of Glacier Bay National Park. The glacier, which can be seen in the distance, used to cover the entire bay until about 200 years ago. The glacier slowly flows down the mountain, eroding everything in its path. Because of this glacial erosion, the landscape is very unique. This is a fjord. Fjords are inlets connecting to the open sea. Glacier Bay itself is a huge fjord, cutting more than 100 kilometers inland. These sheer cliffs bear the traces of the long-ago movement of a glacier. Since the temperature remains below zero even during the summer in this area, fallen snow on the mountain doesn't melt, instead building up. The snow then becomes compressed, thereby turning into a glacier. Becoming heavier and heavier, gravity causes the glaciers to move downhill into valleys. Composed of layer after layer of compressed snow, glaciers reach a thickness of some several hundred meters. Glacier Bay is surrounded by steep mountains. On average, glaciers advance several dozen meters annually before finally reaching the sea. This area, where more glaciers are being created than are melting, remains glacially active. The height of the tip of these glaciers on the shoreline is approximately 30 meters. Beneath the waters lies several times that amount of ice, hidden from view. The reason why glaciers appear bluish is because ice absorbs all other wavelengths of light, allowing us to see them as blue. Fallen chunks of ice turn into icebergs, floating into the sea. A baby seal is taking a break on this iceberg. The seal is fully insulated by its thick, white coat, which functions both to protect it from the cold and to help it blend in with the surrounding snow. In about 2 weeks' time, the baby seal's white coat will be replaced with a gray one. A sea otter holds its child protectively. There are plenty of plankton and fish in these waters, where warm and cold currents converse, allowing a great number of aquatic fish-eating animals to thrive here as well. This is a group of humpback whales. They stay in the warm oceans of Mexico and Hawaii during winter and migrate up to Alaska to feed in the summer. Humpback whales measure 15 meters in length and weigh 30 tons. A flock of seagulls gather overhead. They must have spotted some fish in the waters below. Humpback whales hunt in groups. Cornering schools of small fish, such as herring, the whales swallow them whole in their huge mouths. No one knows for sure why whales jump. There are many theories, though, such as for courting or throwing off microbes that have become attached to their bodies. The icy sea and stunning mountains and glaciers, along with the many animals that make this icy world their home, truly dazzle those fortunate enough to see it with their own eyes. The world's largest World Heritage Site, joining together 4 national parks and 2 sovereign nations, protects within it great biodiversity and untouched wilderness that is unique to North America.